Hello my friends, Paul here in the RoJoBe Music Workshop, and welcome to part 5 of the classical guitar conversion to acoustic guitar. I think in the previous episode I'd permanently attached the neck onto the body. I think I'd left it where I'd actually put the neck in, so it's all set now. And I did have a gap here, and what I was worried about was when putting the strings on and up to tension that this gap would close up and the neck would lift up. So I put a wedge of wood in there, glued that in place, and I've also done some filler around the edges of where the neck meets the body, because there were a few gaps. It's still not looking beautiful, but all the gaps are filled in. It just needs some final sanding, really. But I don't think there's any gaps that have opened up again. Let me just have a quick look at that. It looks really good. So it's not looking pretty at the moment, but all of that is going to be sorted out in sanding and painting. Now, with the neck, I've been having a good look at this neck, and I'm quite liking the natural grain of this neck and the headstock. I said I thought it was mahogany. I'm not sure, honestly, but the headstock itself has got quite a nice pattern to it. There was very thin veneer on there, and I've sanded it off because I wanted to see what the wood actually looks like, and I quite like that. So I've decided I'm not going to paint the whole thing like I was going to do. I'm going to leave the neck and headstock natural and probably oil it. So that's the front of the headstock. I think that looks really nice, and that's the back. Some quite nice patterning on there, and on the neck itself, grain's looking quite nice. And obviously when I get down to here, that's horrific. I don't know what happened there. So I'll kind of end it somewhere around here, just above the heel. So that will be the heel will be painted, and all of the body, but the rest of the neck and the headstock I'm going to leave natural. Yeah. I mean, obviously it means quite a bit less work as far as painting is concerned. Most electric guitars, at least, have a bare neck, if you like, and some acoustics too. So that's what this is going to get. I just like the look of that wood. It's got a nice grain to it, and what I don't like personally is when you've got a painted and varnished or lacquered neck. It kind of gets sticky if you use it a lot, and that's the reason why electric guitars don't usually have a painted or lacquered neck. Usually sort of satin or even matte. So that's what I'm probably going to be doing to this. So I'm at the stage now where I'm going to be fitting the truss rod. Now, the truss rod channel that was already in the neck, I've obviously had to extend that into the body. So this is the join here, and I had to extend that channel into the body as well. And I had to put a block of wood up inside there, and glue it from the inside before I did that. Otherwise, I'm just going straight through the top of the guitar into open space. So I had to put a block of wood, and it kind of spans that area there, and I've extended the channel for the truss rod there. And also what I've done, I think this truss rod originally had the adjustment in here, so I've turned it around. Well, I'm going to turn it around, so I've also extended the channel through the headstock. Now I know this isn't the way you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to drill a hole through there and not cut all this open, but this was the much easier way to do it for me. So I've literally just extended the channel all the way out, and you can see it is wider at this top end because of the adjuster screw and the kind of the flange on the end there. It's a bit bigger, so I had to open it up a bit. And what I'm going to do is put the truss rod in, and then before attaching the fretboard, I've got this piece of wood which I'm going to glue in there over that as a bridge, you know, through where, because that's where the nut is going to go, and obviously we've got, you know, nothing in the middle. So I've got this bridge that I'm going to glue in there to cover that up and obviously strengthen it as well before I put the fretboard on. So without further ado, let's crack on. Okay, I'll zoom in a little bit. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so yeah, unfortunately the light's not great. Let me just bring that light forward a bit, see if that'll help. Maybe a bit better. Okay, so because this channel was already in the neck for the truss rod, it's a decent fit. You know, it fits in there really nice. So that's oh, one thing I will do before I put that truss rod in is I'm going to use some Vaseline to coat at least this this top edge and possibly around here as well. Now, the reason for it is, I mean, obviously, you know, it will kind of lubricate the moving parts, but also it will help prevent the glue from sticking to the truss rod, the glue that I use to put the fretboard on. You know, you don't want it sticking to the truss rod. So this isn't the proper way you're supposed to do it. This whole thing is supposed to be coated in a plastic sheet. And it did have one when I took it out, but it wasn't in great condition. It was all split and peeling off, so I just took it off. So this is good enough, you know, just to put a little bit of Vaseline on there to stop the glue from sticking on that when I put the fretboard on. So let's just get that out of the way. Right, so now I'll push the whole thing in, so it's below the surface and not going to hold up the fretboard at all. Make sure I wipe off any excess Vaseline from there. I don't want it on my gluing surfaces. So that's the truss rod installed. Pretty straightforward. Nice snug fit, and you can see it kind of protrudes there out through the headstock. And as I said, I've got that bridge to go across there, and I have also made a truss rod cover. Let's see if I can find that. So out of that old pick guard that I ruined for the electric guitar, I still had some of it left over, so I've cut this out using my laser engraver, and so I've got the truss rod cover as well. So that will be covering up that at the end. It never looks good, and I haven't done a particularly good job of it either. But there you go. It's functional, and it will have a truss rod cover over it, so you're not gonna see it anyway. Right. So I now need to glue that bridge piece in. So let me just bring the camera down there. So I've got to be a bit careful when I put this little bridge piece in. It's got to be the end of it in line with where this side of the nut will be. And I've made it a really nice tight fit, so I can, you know, push it in there, and it needs to push down so that it's flush with this part of the neck, you know, because the fretboard is going to be going on top of that. So let's just get a little bit of glue on that bridge piece. Okay, so just on the two edges, and that's the facing forward. So I only need a tiny bit of glue on here because it's a real tight fit. and if I put too much glue on, it's just going to squeeze out anyway, and you really won't need a lot for it to do the job. Right, that's one side. Oops. That will probably be enough. Right, so let's get the thing in now. Bit tricky. Okay. Let's get a bit of tissue. Wipe up excess glue. Now it's not going to go too far down because the truss rod is underneath it, so that will prevent it going too far. So, but I want to make sure it's flush with this top part of the neck. It's good that side, it seems to be almost there. Let me just get chisel, and you just tap it down with the butt of the chisel there. Seems pretty good. Yeah. Just give that another little tap. See if I can just get it a little bit more. I don't think it's going to go anymore. Okay. I'm pretty happy with that. That's gone to where I want it, and let me just check. I want to. That's better. Okay, just needed to go down a little bit more at that end. I think. Yep, that's as good as it's going to get. So I'll just grab a Allen key and make sure the end of that truss rod still turns. It should do. Yep, that's turning freely, nicely. Good, okay. So, I'm just going to let that glue set up a little bit, and I'll try and just sand that a bit smoother there before I put the fretboard on. Actually, that's set enough now that I'll be able to give that sanding. So I've got some, I think this is 120. Possibly 100, and I'm just going to smooth that down a bit there before I attach the fretboard. Just make sure that's nice and flush. Seems good. Try not to sand the truss rod if I can help it. Yeah, that seems pretty good. That's definitely flush with that. I don't want to sand too much there and put a little divot in there, so just make sure it's all uniform. Perfect. Good, okay. And obviously where the bridge goes through, I call it a bridge, it's going through where the nut's going to go. It's raised here, but I'll level that up later when I come to fit in the nut, I guess, because that's a little way off yet. Okay, so time to fit the fretboard. Now, because I had a little bit of issue when I put this neck in, it's just slightly kicked to one side. I'm going to have to, when I mount the fretboard, kind of bring it over to the one side at the top and then to the other side at the bottom. Just kind of twist the fretboard a little bit, just a tiny bit, just to straighten things up. Not ideal, but that's the way it's gone. So I will need some glue. Okay, so I need some glue. some strips of wood, some clamps which are down there, and masking tape just to hold things in place until I get the clamps on. Okay, so how are we doing for time? Good. Right, okay, so there ain't nothing to it but to glue it. So let's crack on. I'm going to put some on the bottom part of the fretboard first. I'm not going to put the glue on the fretboard, I'm going to put it on the neck so that I can see exactly where it's going. But I'll put some on the bottom part of the fretboard first. My paintbrush. And you know what I'm going to say, don't you? You don't want too much glue, you want a thin layer, but you definitely want 100% coverage. Right, let's put a little bit too much over that line. Let's take that off. Okay, so that's a little bit on there. Now on the neck itself. That might be way too much. I'll try and keep it away from that truss rod. Yeah, I put too much on there. Let's see if we can transfer it to the other side as well. Way too much on there. So, same thing again. A thin layer, but 100% coverage. And I'm getting it all over the blooming place. Definitely don't want that going in the truss rod or the truss rod channel. Right, almost there. Just get a little bit more over this side. Just put a drop more on there. I'll put some down here as well. Right, okay. It's looking pretty good. Right, let's get that fretboard on. Okay. So I'm just going to start it at the top end, put a little bit of masking tape over this edge just to hold that in place. Okay. Right, that's good, I think. And I'll do the same down here, but on the opposite side. Okay, how are we looking? Pretty good. I'm going to put a few more bits of tape on just before I put the clamps on. Try and hold things in place a little bit. Okay, let's just check for alignment. Looking good. Okay, right, so I've got a couple of strips of wood here which I'll put on the fretboard before putting any clamps on. Okay, so time to start clamping up. Okay, first clamp going on. This one's always the worst because this is where things move about. I won't do it up too tight just yet, until I know it's in good alignment. Right, next clamp. And once again, just nip it up, not too tight just yet. And I will clean up glue squeeze out as I go. I need more tissue. Let's get another clamp on that one. Okay, still looking good. Right, let's get some clamps on this bottom end now. Ah, cool. Okay, glue squeeze out. Quite a lot of glue squeeze out, even though I didn't put a huge amount of glue on, but it's a good and bad thing. Good means you've got enough glue on there, bad means you get glue all over the place. Right, let's just make sure that alignment's still good. Before I go any further, it's looking good. Right, so I want to put a clamp here as well. On the end of that fretboard. Try and catch about 3 of the frets, so I'm spreading the weight out a bit. The pressure, sorry. That's looking good as well. Right, I think one more clamp in there and we're done for that. It's going to be a bit awkward. Let me just tighten all these clamps down first before I put that one on. Okay, looking good. Looking good. Right, let's see if I can get that one under there now, under the heel. Ooh, that slipped a bit. Okay, I think we're good. Let me just double check everything. Yep, I'm happy with that. I think I'll just get one more clamp in there. And actually, what I think about it, I'm going to move that clamp down and put another one in there as well, just to make sure we've got plenty of clamping pressure. Okay. Right, so that's the fretboard on, all clamped down. I'm going to leave that at least a few hours to set up before I go any further. But yeah, that's a good stage to be at right now. That's most. Well, should I say it? I was going to say that's most of the hard work done, but not necessarily. you know, I've still got to align and mount the bridge, which you know, is another really crucial part that you've got to get perfectly right first time, otherwise you're screwed. And then excuse me, once the bridge is on, the next stage after that will be prepping for final painting, etc. So, you know, after this fretboard is set, the next part will be to attach the bridge, and then after that, prepping and painting. And I'm just about to run out of time, so that's it for this video. See you all in part 6. In the meantime, look after yourselves, look after each other. We will see you soon. Peace out.